Hey guys, this is a review of the third Skulduggery Pleasant book of the Faceless ones. So this book is really good. Like I said in a previous review that the second book was a straight improvement on the first book, and I would argue that this one is another improvement yet again. I think that the plot of this book is really strong and interesting. We've had this threat of the Faceless ones built up repeatedly over and over again. And we see throughout this book, sort of the stakes are rising. Things keep going wrong. They keep going wrong. And eventually you're like, how many things can go wrong before it all goes wrong and we get the Faceless ones back, right? And as it turns out, a finite amount of things, because actually at the end, some Faceless ones do come back. And then how that's dealt with is really interesting. I enjoyed the idea of, we need to get the scepter, if they're coming through, we need to get the scepter to sort of, deal with them. So I thought that this book, it just really felt like a rising action, in a really good way, because, you get defeat after defeat after defeat, and eventually it leads to the big defeat. Which, spoiler, Skulduggery Pleasant gets, taken through the portal, which I thought was a really fantastic way to end the book, really. It sort of leaves you on, a big cliffhanger of tension. And I think that the Faceless ones, despite their sort of widely varying power levels, make really compelling and interesting villains. I also think there's just something cool about the term Faceless ones. It just sounds fucking terrifying and really cool. So I honestly really enjoyed how we sort of, it feels like an intertwined universe, even though there's not a huge amount of world building. It feels like there is, because oh yeah, we talked about the scepter in the first book, and now we need to go get it, and we need to go under the house to get to, and Valkyrie can touch certain things because she's a descendant of the ancients, and even though the world building might not be huge, it feels huge. And so this book really felt like a fantastic sort of next entry in the series, and I really enjoyed it. And like I said, much like the last book, once again in this book, the characters feel even better and more interesting and more nuanced, and it's fun to see Valkyrie sort of aging up a little bit and doing and the stuff with the sea hag when they go visit her is just a fun scene. There's just some really good stuff in this book. I really enjoyed the sort of fake and switch with Batu. Is it Batu? I think the bad guy who turns out to be Paddy the farmer, which you probably could call, honestly. But that's almost a good thing, because I rather a twist that is slightly too easy to predict than a twist that comes out of nowhere and there's no way you could have predicted it no matter what. So, honestly, I think that this is that was a cool and interesting sort of thing to have in the mix. And then I gotta mention, we're talking about cool scenes, I gotta mention the scene where Bliss gets torn apart by a Faceless one. It's just really cool, because Bliss has been built up as this turbo Chad, one of the strongest people in the world. He literally goes one-on-one with a grotesquerie and wins at a certain point, and then we just see a Faceless one go, and he just ruptures. And it's just a really cool, sort of powerful, interesting scene. And I just thought that this book really functions super well. And it's nice to have some, the new villains doing their thing. It was nice having a new style of magic introduced with the teleporters and a new character of Fletcher Wren, a new teleporter. I just thought it was really cool, and I enjoyed sort of introducing teleportation to the universe, and I just thought it was fantastic. And I would once again strongly recommend this book. This series just gets better. Although with that said, just a quick caveat, I do remember it going downhill again after Deathbringer, so just keep that in the back of your mind. But yeah, fantastic book, and I would strongly recommend.